All right, boom, got the recording up. All right, welcome everybody. It's gonna be week 2 of our live Forex market analysis with Upper FX trading. We're gonna go ahead and start with the NAS 100. And once again, if you guys are, go ahead and if you guys are coming in, just go ahead and put a pair in the chat. Let me know if you guys want to, whatever you want to look at, we can go ahead and take a look. This is my watch list for the FTMO account. As I stated in my last week's video, I'm down 2% on it a little bit, but they were kind of just rush trades. The bias was right overall, but we just got in a little too early and I had a very tight stop. But so these are the pairs that I'm going to be looking at mainly, but we're going to start off with the NAS 100. So let's go ahead and take a look at it. I'm going to take a look at always doing our top-down analysis, looking at the daily time frame. So right off the bat, I see that we have on the daily, we have broken a high. This is the last high of, what was this day? February 16th. So seeing that price is breaking structure on a daily time frame, on a higher time frame, I'm going to expect that price may want to be going higher as we have made all-time highs now. But it's not going to go high right at this moment. So I'm going to go ahead and look for points of demand where we can probably get in and look for a retracement to be able to take this market back up. So right off the bat, I see this last down to up candle that has yet to be mitigated. This candle down here, this last down up move that took price higher. If we go to a lower time frame, this is probably down here. You know, we see that there's probably intermediary structure that was broken. You had these highs taken. There's probably highs on lower time frames that were taken. We have marked up. We didn't fully take out these structures with this candle, but we did come tap into it on the daily. So we take a look. All this price action down here. This daily candle has already been mitigated. Really, it hasn't touched the 50% yet, so maybe that's somewhere that we can look at. Let's go ahead and draw this out. Where is this daily? So the 50% has yet to be mitigated. And I'll refine this zone in just a moment. For the moment, these are the two zones that I see for a possible retracement. If I want to continue to catch this NAS 100 bullish, this is just looking at a daily time frame at the moment. We do have a W pattern as well. For those of you who like to trade patterns, we have this W pattern and we have this neckline. I don't really see there is an imbalance on this candle, but other than that, I would like to see this deeper retracement into this zone of demand for a safer entry. Even though it's not on the neckline, for those that trade the W off the neckline, this is still a pretty good schematic that would play out right here. This would be a solid trade for you to take. And let's go ahead and throw a fib on it too, to see if there's any extra confluences on this whole swing up. This is my fib. Okay. Swing low to swing high. The 61%, I believe I've refined it to 62. 61.8. Oh no, yeah, I did refine it to 62. So 62%, 71, and 79. These are the key levels that I'm looking for in this, call it a buy box, you can call it a point of interest on your fib. So this lines up pretty well with this demand zone. So this is going to give me some extra confluence. And as well, so we have the bottom of this demand zone, right? This lines up pretty well with the 886 of my fib, and this is what I use for a stop. So if we do end up having a schematic, you know, come play in. Oh, that was terrible. Let's not do that. That was hideous. So we do have a Wyckoff accumulation schematic play out in here, right? Take the lows out and hopefully trade higher. If you have your stop where this demand zone is, or if you have it right here, this is just on the daily time frame, you know, there's going to be, it'll be okay if you have it right here, but it's going to be nice to put it right where the demand zone is. So let's go ahead and refine this area now to see if there's price lower candles that we can look so we can have better RR. I'm gonna go from the daily to the 4 hour. What is the 4 hour showing us at the moment? Let's look at price right now. So we have price's broken structure at this moment right here. Instead of creating from its overall bearishness, right? Go ahead and draw a trend line just to show we got a bearish trend, correct? Let me get this out of the way. We had higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, lower high, lower low that took out this liquidity, started to mark up. Looks like we broke just a little bit above that overall range. So nothing yet at the moment has showed me that we're going to have bearishness just quite yet to return down to these overall demand zones. And as you can see, we'll get down here, but there's you know, a last stand up candle that has yet to be mitigated. So we'll look for that for our refinement. But at the moment, because it is still overall bullish, it may not come down all the way there. You could probably look to catch moves in the current price action. So you have this last up to down candle right here, right on the 4 hour time frame. It was a doji, big bullish price action right after that. Took out all of these highs, ended up trading higher back down into you know, some sort of imbalance on this candle, not enough. And then, you know, eventually, so if you guys understand imbalances, this is an imbalance. So where this wick is right here, up to this candle right here, all of this is imbalanced because there's not been price action on this time frame that has really came and retraced down to fill this void. As you can see, you know, through time, it did come up to fill, but this is a good example of showing how imbalances work. So you can use imbalances as a point of interest when you're trading. This is my imbalance tool. I just look at it like this. You can take it from the 50% as well, right? So you have a couple of wicks in there, and this is obviously on a 4 hour time frame. So maybe 1 hour time frame, there's going to be some refinements, so you can have a better RR in that. But this is a great way the imbalances are traded. So just getting on that topic real quick. But so back to that at the moment. So we have this last up to down candle that has yet to be mitigated. These lows were taken out. So if anything is going to happen for NAS for it to sell, to be able to get down to those discount zones right here, or the demand zones, I'm going to want to see price come into this last up to down candle, because we had a, you know, overall move up, but this last candle took out price, took out these structures, you know, tapped into some lower prices. So this is a good sign. This is a very big sign of bearishness right here for me, taking out these structures. So if we can get a move up here, maybe, and see a schematic play out, then I'll be looking for lower prices. Let's go ahead and look on a 1 hour time frame. Right. Okay. So that you can actually see, you know, price wanting to trade lower. It has still yet to be tapped into this supply zone. So this is a good point of interest that I'm going to be looking for. Or if whoever wants to look and trade NAS 100, I don't really trade NAS 100. But this is where we're looking at the moment. It is trading lower. It could play out some sort of Wyckoff schematic on this time frame. You know, there are equal lows at the moment from this wick. There's definitely equal lows that can be taken out to start to play out. You know, if this gets taken out, you know, taken out, boom, you know, something like this, mark up, maybe like that, and then, you know, you can look for your plays right here, whatever. That's what we're going to be looking for in that zone. So that's what it looks like at the moment. You know, you have these lows. There's a lot of liquidity right here. That, you know, there's buy orders, there's stop losses. So I would like to see these lows taken down to this area to look for potential buys up into this last mitigated, unmitigated supply zone. And if we have price come up into this supply zone first, then we can look for the sell down. Now, if I'm going to be honest, I'm going to go ahead and take another look at this again. These are pretty equal highs. It did get wicked a little bit, so this could have been that mitigation maybe. But if price comes up here, I'd be weary of you might get stopped out if you're in this, but just be careful. Just watch price action, because there's a lot of liquidity forming right there. But again, we do have these breaks of structure down, so showing that price wants to go down is pretty good at the moment. So you have two moves overall with this NAS currently on the hour. You can have this buy. Where's my long tool? If you're going to do something like this, keep it at the 50 and target whatever structure or whatever levels of supply get left behind to partial at, and then eventually come up here. This is the overall target that we're going to look at, because this is yet to be mitigated. And you do have an imbalance in here as well. So you can target this imbalance in here as well. So you can do this. And like I said, you can target these. And then we have other way around. If we come up here, put your stop. Let's do this. Here, include this wick actually. Go ahead and include that wick just in case, that's the overall supply zone. And from here, you can be targeting structure or levels of demand that get left behind on the way. So these are going to be the two plays. And let's go into the 15-minute just to see if there's any other things that we're missing. No, that's about it. That's what I'm seeing at the moment on NAS. Short-term view. I want to see these equal lows taken before anything happens, honestly. And as we're going into the week, maybe we'll see these lows taken or some news happens. That's it for NAS. Once again, I don't really trade NAS like that, so I'm not too familiar with the price action and everything. But this is what I'm seeing, just based on my concepts that I trade. So we're going to go to EU now, and I'm going to be looking to trade this tomorrow to continue on my FTMO. I've made small profit, but I was using small lots. Still, I'm doing the 10K challenge. So hopefully just, catch some good trades off of that. So let's go ahead and go look at EU and see what we were doing. So top-down analysis, always going to use top-down analysis. Just looking from a monthly time frame is going to show, kind of how supply and demand, they work with one another. So you can see it on all time frames, right? So this is a monthly time frame. Every candle is a month's worth of data. So this last up candle was March 2018. This last up to down candle, you can still count it as supply because it is still supply. This up move, this is the last up move before price moving down. So there's orders in here where the banks play. And January of this year, we've seen price come back into it. So this is going to kind of show you, guys, supply and demand. You can see supply and demand everywhere on any time frames, on the 1 second, 1 minute, 5 minute. And as long as you back test and understand how they work, you can be able to see them on higher time frames and be able to catch moves like this on a monthly time frame. If you have this monthly point of interest from a supply and demand, it was a long time. Maybe you didn't even see it till here, right? You marked this up in December and you're waiting for a price to come in, and you could have caught this move, with these higher time frame supply and demand. So just understand that all the concepts that you learn can be applied to any time frame. So back to the markup, we had this play out, right? This is the last down to up candle that looks like we have played into it. Let's go ahead and look at this. My box. Boom. All right. Man, our time frame. 20. All right. So we did have price mitigate this area up. There are still areas left down here, per se. This last down up candle that I would like to see tapped into. We do have some imbalance. And these. Oh, I changed the wrong box. Hard time frame. Okay, that's my imbalance, right? Because there's no price action in this candle, wick, wicks, imbalance of price. No wicks in there yet. So this is a potential point of interest. We can also let's take a look at this, see how, if we could got into this move. Showing you guys the fib. That's how you guys use the fib. Swing low to swing high in a trend. You could have caught in this move using supply and demand for extra confluence. So as price, use my replay tool. Showing you guys how you can use different concepts, supply and demand. You can use your fib. All types of concepts can be used within one another. So you have this overall fib, right? Swing low to swing high on the daily. This is the 4-hour time frame, just showing you intermediate price of what happens on the slower time frames. As price comes down, right? Starting to look, doesn't quite tap into here yet, so we're not entering, right? So going, doing this thing. Go ahead. Right, price is coming into our fib level, gave us a tap. Wasn't a full schematic. You could have caught an RR off of this, right? But we have all of these levels that we can play into. Overall, then you have that markup on the lower levels, break a structure, and you have a markup. So that's another example of how fibs and other tools can be used, right? Okay, so back to this. We're on the monthly, huh? So there's that monthly look. These are our zones that we marked up. Let's go ahead and go to the daily. On the daily time frame, so we are still overall. Don't get confused just because. So this is bearish price action, but on the higher time frame, we are in an overall bullish structure, right? So we're still doing this overall. If you want to look at it on a higher time frame, price hasn't broken this low. If it breaks this low, then we'd be shifting bearish possibly. But since we are still in this realm and we broke off of this demand zone on the higher time frame, this is still considered a bullish structure. Now price may be switching intermediary, sorry. So we can always catch moves in between. So let's go ahead and look at EU on the daily time frame. And I see this, right? Up to down, last up to down candle. Go ahead. I'm gonna go ahead and take this zone off because we already know we're in supply. So this last up to down candle has yet to be mitigated. So I'm gonna be looking for this area to be mitigated. So we are in this bearish structure. So because it is bearish on this lower time frame, we can possibly catch the bearishness down to levels of demand to continue bullish, because we are overall bullish, right? We're in a bullish structure. So on the daily, you could catch. This is a good example of a sell to buy option, because we have points of demand down here that are still left to be unmitigated. I believe I spoke about sell to buys and counter trends last week, but this is a great example. You can take this, right? You can take this sell, and because that there's areas that need to be mitigated still and orders need to be filled, if you take this sell and price comes down to your point of interest and gives you a schematic, you can go ahead and take that bitch right back up. Excuse my language. You can go and take it right back up to any points of supply that were left behind or structure created along the way. So like I said last week, you shouldn't be afraid to miss out on moves, because there's always another move right around the corner on any time frame. Don't just jump in and any move blindly. Obviously have your confluences lined up, your checklist, and everything that you look for in the chart, right? But you can definitely take these counter trend buys, hedging, whatever you want to call it, and be very profitable with that. Now back to my bias. So because this is what I'm seeing right here on the daily time frame, I'm going to be looking for sells possibly on this in the supply zone. I want to see it mitigated before coming down. Let's go ahead and take a look on the 4-hour time frame. We're not quite there yet. Obviously, you know, we tapped. We have a drop in price. Price may not even go up there yet. We may have see price drop down lower to give us possible setups for buys to continue the bearish trend. We have this demand zone left behind. This one's not valid. I'm not going to use that. And then really this last demand zone. So I can just go ahead. This is already refined, my refine tool. Boom. So we just refine that to this last up to down candle on the 4-hour. This one looks like it was mitigated, definitely this wick. So let's go ahead and make sure everything's visible. Okay. So definitely these are going to be the areas that I'm looking for on EU to play into. If we do get price in here, I'll be looking for a sell to take to lower prices on these demand zones that we have. At the moment, we do have a break of structure. We were previously bearish, or I'm sorry, we were previously bullish. We got a break of structure, break of the trend line. Now, if price doesn't come up all the way here and mitigate these highs, the next point I'll be looking for this last candle. Supply. What's good? What's good, bro? Right. So looking for that last up to down move. Left behind. We do have some support that was found. So if you like using the fib like I do, you know, you can do this to be your like that, or you can take it from all the way up here. This was the last swing high to swing low, right? See how price plays out in there. Let's go and look at the hour. So I actually caught a sell on this at the end of the week on Thursday. I believe it was in here off of this candle, and it ran. I partialed right at this low on a smaller time frame. It was a 1 minute time frame trade in this range, and then I partialed, and then I didn't get out. Sadly, missed this whole drop, but I was able to take some profit on a small sell on a smaller time frame off of supply and demand. So that's another, you know, ringer in your guys' head that you can take sells on any time frame as long as you have your confluence lined up. Supply and demand can be seen on any time frame. We're on the hour. You see supply and demand everywhere. We have another supply and demand right here. Last up to down candle. They look to be played into. Right. Where do we end up playing off of? I believe this is on a lower time frame. Honestly, I didn't really find a solid level that this price came down to. Honestly, we took an L on this last week as well. So I took a W on this sell, but I took a loss on this buy. I was looking for buys at the end of the week. I shouldn't have traded it. I usually don't trade Fridays, but I went against my own rules. That's one thing you guys shouldn't do, go against your own rules when you're trading. This was a buy I was looking for. I was looking at it in two areas. And here, I'm sorry, I'm going off topic, but I'm just gonna go ahead and explain something real quick just so you guys. So I had, these are my zones that I had drawn up. I had this, and I had this last like overall down to up move in there. And I had my fib on there, so I was like, oh, we're good. You know, we've been marking up. We had a mini, kind of like a mini schematic play out in here that took prices higher. We broke this structure. I was definitely looking for this buy and didn't get that. Got the complete opposite. There was a little bit of, you know, action in here, Maybe on a lower time frame that could have been caught, 14 pips. But other than that, there was really no move. So there's going to be losses that happen, you know, but as long as you're managing your risk properly, you're going to be okay. So, you know, not having a stop, you know, if you're taking this buy, if I had this looking to buy this right here, I wouldn't have my, you know, obviously my stop loss all the way down here. You know, you would have to risk 1% or less than 1% of your account, 0.05 to 1% of your account, like that. You know, a 1% loss. You know, those 1% losses are going to really matter when you see your guys' profit. So just be aware of that. There's going to be losses, but it's all right. It happens. It's part of the game. There's nobody I know that hasn't lost a trade ever. It happens. Everybody loses. Don't be afraid, or don't think of quitting when, you know, when it happens. Just be like, move on to the next trade. There's always going to be another setup right around the corner that's going to, first of all, break even on your loss, give you your money back, and potentially make more, right? But sorry, let me go back because I got sidetracked like I always do. These are the areas that we're looking for at the moment for EU. We do have equal highs or equal lows. You know, this was wicked in, but I still want to see this lower demand zone be tapped into to possibly take higher. We have this still, we're bullish on the 4 hour. We're bearish on the daily from this overall move, but we are breaking structure higher, right? We have broken, you know, these highs, so we can definitely see some retracement into going higher. So as of now, I'm bullish. I'm going to be looking for bullish plays, but there is bearish price action that is being shown that we can possibly take these sells down to these lower levels of demand to take them higher to remain our bullish bias. So that's EU. Let's go GU right now. Kind of the same thing over here. GU looks like the same thing, bro. On the monthly time frame. Okay, right. What do we look at when we looked at EU on the monthly? Let's go look real quick. All right, we saw this. It's almost the same thing on GU. What do you know? So we had on the monthly, we had this sell occur. Still overall, this price action looks a little bearish to me, or looks bullish. We are breaking these highs. We have broken these others. We haven't broken this overall structure, but we are taking highs on this way up. I'm going to look at the daily. That's the bullishness that has been going on. Now, we are in this overall supply zone from the monthly time frame. And in supply zones, we're going to be looking for sells, right? Price has shown that it's begun to break down, create some equal lows at levels of demand. I would like to see these lows taken to possibly, oh my goodness, this price action is terrible. Going on a 4 hour, see if there's any unmitigated levels that we can look for. This. Oh, brain fart. Go ahead and do demand. So if I'm going to see any bullishness, actually, I'm starting to think that, you know, I'll be looking for sells on this. But if we are going to see any bullishness, it's definitely going to be in this area. We got this 4 hour last down to up candle. That this last down candle was right here, and the next up candle took price, shifted it up, broke highs, and we started marking up higher. We have equal lows right here. We look for this liquidity to be taken down into this level. There are this is imbalance as well. You know, there's no price action in between this candle. Is a big move up on the 4 hour. So that's where we're going to be looking for possible buys. But at the moment, you know, because we did mark up that monthly supply zone, right, that we're in. So we should be looking for sells. So right off the bat, this is all liquidity, right? So here at this level, resistance, whatever you want to call it, there's people's stops, sells, there's stops from their sells that they're potentially in. If they're still in, you know, maybe they have stops in here. There's buy stops for people to buy through the breakthrough, and just all other types of orders that are lying above here. So, and what institutions like to do, they like to move where the money is. So if anything, you can see these highs possibly be mitigated before coming down. Go and look at a daily one more time. So you do have this last, okay, that's what I was looking for. All right. Very well. I still don't use, I don't know that indicator you guys use, bro, or that system. Ronnie tries to show me, but I'm lost. Right, okay, so we got price play. What's another great example of supply and demand? This is a daily demand zone. You have these wicks included as well. So this is overall demand. Price wicked in there. So now looking at this, I can definitely see these lows taken to potentially catch some bullish moves. Right where we are, I definitely want to see price coming into here because this is that overall supply zone and there's a lot of orders in here. But if we don't end up seeing that and we continue this trend, we broke this structure, if we continue this trend, you know, I'll be looking for sells off of this. Supply. Definitely to take lower into this zone. And, you know, if we do get this sell down here, then maybe, you know, this will be our area to target for the buy. So right now, I'm going to stick this bias right here for a sell on down on the daily. Go to the 4 hour, see what price is showing us. Okay, so we have that break of structure, right? Break of structure down. This last down to up candle is yet to be tapped. So you can even look for a play in there. So these are our points of interest that we're looking at. All right, potential buy play from in here. I'm gonna use this lower demand zone for better RR, excuse me. Targeting, you know, these highs, stuff like that. If we do get a, excuse me. If we do end up coming back into here and we get an accumulation or a distribution on a lower time frame, not on the 4 hour, maybe on the 15 minute or 8 minute, around there. If we get a 4 hour or if we get a 15 or 8 minute distribution in here and we see breaks of structure that price wants to, so if we come up and I start to see this, right, highs, you know, boom, highs taken, break of structure, test, something like that, trading lower, then I'll be looking to get in there, and also using other confirmations, you know, like this, you know, these structures being broken, structure being broken, showing that it wants to go down, right? Structure. You can get in on this retrace. Don't mind the colors. I'm just using them for hypothetical purposes. So if we get something like this, you know, you can come in and test on that retrace, or you can just do a risk trade. And when you see price come into there on a time frame, just go and enter and let it float. It's totally up to you. I'm going to be looking for a schematic just to be able to secure my profits and use less risk. I like getting an off the retracement just to, manage my stop. Just a little bit better, maybe having, targeting highs like that, and then structure. So that's what I'll be looking at in this area. So do that. And then the same is going to be for, right, if we come in here. Let's go ahead and go to 15. So honestly, because we have this liquidity right here, if we don't get this buy, so there's a couple things that can happen. Say we come in here, mark up, right? Take out lows, right? And trade higher, break structure, go higher. We can have that happen. Or we can possibly have, fuck, terrible. Right? We can have it just come break into this other demand zone, create equal lows, maybe break, spring, higher, something like that type of accumulation schematic. But something to where you see that there's orders being put into other hands. So you have the sellers giving their orders to buyers to take higher. And when we see something like that, then I'll be looking for an overall buy in this area. So that's GU, looking for the buys to happen here and the sells to happen in this area on the supply zone. There's a break of structure right there. On a lower time frame, we can take this sell down here to potentially higher prices. This is that overall daily demand supply zone that we're looking at. We have all this level of liquidity that is yet to be taken, liquidity. So those are the plays. I don't know what is going to happen first. We're going to have to let the market play out. What's good, bro?
You see GU on the 1 hour?
Yeah.
I see. Yeah, I see those railroad track candles coming down and being liquidated.
Yeah, bro.
The zone you have marked up. Yeah, I see pretty much the same thing.
Right here.
Yeah, those ones right there.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm definitely looking. That's gonna be the area I'm looking for as well.
I want to wait. I think it's gonna retrace up before London.
Yeah.
Fell over
down
there.
Yeah, definitely.
That's what I'm expecting to happen with GU. But yeah, I also see it continuing the bullish after it does grab the liquidity there.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure, man. And I'm definitely gonna be looking for maybe this, I don't know what we get, but the overall move is, I'm definitely going to look for that. Once I see these lows taken, then it's game time for me.
Yes, sir.
Go look at that. Let's see.
You look at
I'll do one more.
Pretty much the only two pairs you look at.
That's what I like trading comfortably.
Same. Yeah.
I can trade, there's, the same concepts can be applied to the indices and stuff.
Oh yeah.
But it's just more of a mental barrier for me to apply them to, so actually I had a sell in here marked. I'm pretty sure it was this one, bro. I had this sell marked up in here for S&P. Let's see if I can find it in the group. I sent it. Let's go and try to find it. That's US 30. Yeah. So this was the play I was looking to take last week, and it ran beautifully. I took it on my demo. I partialed at these lows, and price ran to the to my fib extension. I was going to take this on my FTMO, but I'm not that comfortable with it yet. But the same concepts, supply, fib. It's all there.
You look at crypto at all or not?
Yeah, I have. So this is just my main watch list. Here's my crypto. I have these zones marked up on Bitcoin.
Yeah, I pretty much only look at Ethereum, but I look at
Oh,
Bitcoin because
okay.
like most of them follow Bitcoin, so I'll just like look at
Yeah,
Bitcoin and
yeah,
then trade Ethereum.
yeah, for sure, bro. I think I had, yeah, I had these overall long-term zones marked up on Ethereum, but I don't think they're going to be coming back anytime soon.
Oh,
Super
definitely
fucking
not.
bullish.
Yeah,
I did had a,
I caught 80 pips today on Ethereum, but it was like a 10-cent loss size. It wasn't crazy, but
oh yeah, hey
it was
man,
just
profit is
warming up.
profit.
Yes, sir.
The skill works, bro. I did catch this sell shortly on my demo because I'm still trying. I want to get into trading cryptos on the weekend.
That's
So
that's
I'm
mainly
just,
what I do. Like I'll look at
yeah.
EU,
So
GU during the week, and then once the weekend hits,
yep,
it's just Ethereum.
yeah, bro. I feel that. Yeah, I had this Litecoin marked up. I did catch a sell on it on my demo. I mean, even I probably could have got into it at a better
Litecoin
time. This
moves
was the
slow
overall
as
zone.
hell.
Yeah, it does. It does. It takes a long fucking time. And this distribution took forever to play out too. Like once I didn't realize it until it was way later. I think I didn't realize it until like right here. I'm like, oh shit. But yeah, they definitely could possibly have a move coming in here. XRP, I don't really trade much XRP. I think I've caught in like one or two buys on it when it was
I'm
down.
nice at trading XRP. I just switched to Ethereum because I don't know, the pips are easier to count by looking
Yeah.
at it.
I understand you, bro. I feel that. All right, let's do one more. What time is 8:48? I'll do okay. I'll do this last one. Let's go ahead and look at gold. Take a look at gold on the daily. Started off. Actually, let's take a look at the month. Overall bullish. I don't want to see too much. All right, let's go to the daily. All right. So overall, higher time frame, bullishness. On the daily, we are super fucking bearish, creating lower lows, lower lows, lower lows. We have these equal lows marked. If I can mark them. Equal lows. Price has been trading. Ooh, price has definitely been trading higher. Yeah, I took out those highs for sure. Interesting. Is there anything? Sorry, guys. Let's see. I'm not used to trading gold. I'll take this last up to down candle on the hour, on the 8 hour. That we played into. What's up there? I'm almost done. This last up to down move played, leaving behind on the way up. We left behind some areas of demand that have yet to be traded into. We have demand right there. We have demand over here as well that has not really been, it did get mitigated right there, but not this 50%. So let's go line up to 50 real quick. Right down there, that's that way it came. All right, so here's my overall zone right here on these daily time frames, 1 and 2. Looking for the 50s. I'd like to play out the 50s. I don't believe I was putting 50s on my other zones before, but the safest bet to play off your supply and demand or your imbalances is look for the 50%. And this is just how I use that tool. So it's just a fib. Oops, just a fib That's all it is. I just use literally 50%, no, nothing else. And you just dot top to bottom and there's your 50. If you guys want to use another tool to identify where the 50% is, you can use the parallel channel. You just draw a line straight, drag it up, and it already has a line, a level in there. Dotted line, you can customize that. That's your 50. So back to the markup on gold. We're overall bullish. We have broken all this structure. Okay, so this is obviously on a high time frame, but this is a lot of liquidity sitting right here. So maybe in the future, see these lows taken. There's a lot of orders. You know, there's sell stops, stop losses, all lying right beneath here that banks probably, you know, want to grab to take. In the meantime, what are we playing off of that 50. Where do we get this from? We get it from a monthly. We got it from 8 hour. 8 hour supply zone. Last down to up move. Playing off the 50%. And we are showing signs of breaking structure down to the downside, right? We have intermediary break of structure. There's wick. Break of structure. And break of structure. So all of these lows have been taken, showing prices wanting to be traded lower. Coming into our points of interest where we're looking, right? Here's another last down up move that we can identify. Go ahead and find that. So you guys can see that on the 4 hour. Boom, traded higher, taking out all of this. You also have this last down up move as well. So they're all potential areas of interest to look for buy plays. I'm not going to mark that, but you do have, so back down to this overall level. Not only, you know, you have a level of demand, you have your 50%. What also we've been talking about, or I've been talking about all video, are imbalances. Really looking for those imbalances. If you have an imbalance in your point of interest, that should be an extra confluence to your trade of wanting to look for plays off of that. Because not only you have an imbalance of where price needs to come to, but this is overall supply and demand, right? The last down up move that took out structure and other orders, right? And you also have this one down here, but I'm not going to use that. So use this as extra confluence to formulate a bias and formulate and confirm of where you're going to enter the market. Let's move down to the hour, right? So we're still seeing these structural changes. Did we get a sell tap in here? No? Okay. So, because we are playing off supply, right? In this red zone, this is where supply is on the 8 hour. This last up to down move on the hour has yet to be mitigated on the open or the 50. And now we can take this off because we know where we are, right? Boom. Go ahead, delete these real quick. Okay. So because of the bearishness that's been going, we've been creating lower highs and lower lows, taking out structure, and we have points of interest down here. We have last up to down moves. We have an imbalance down here that need to be mitigated. I'm going to be looking for this sell to go down there and take those positions out. We're going to be looking for them off this last hour up to down move. Obviously targeting, you know, any points of demand that are left behind, targeting down here in our points of interest, hourly points of interest, and overall the daily points of interest that we've identified. So these are all points of interest. Price is not always going to come in here and mitigate these levels and do what it's going to do what you want it to do, but understand, you know, having all these confluences in order, understanding structure, right? Understanding that you know, this bearishness could all just be a part of the overall move, the higher low to continue higher, right? So in the bullish structure, you have, you know, your high, higher low, higher high. What haven't we really gotten? We've gotten a higher, you know, a higher low, but on a higher time frame, you know, we're looking for that higher low, lines up, you know, with these levels to continue higher. All of the price action in between is intermediary stuff. Don't let the, you know, this bearishness confuse you that, you know, is going to be bearish forever. You know, just understand that it's part of an overall schematic, you know, all this uptrend happening. And like I just example for you guys, the structure on the higher time frames of how it can be played, the higher highs, higher lows, right? So this, we're going to be looking for gold, you know, coming this week. If price comes into here, I'm definitely gonna be looking on the 1 minute or 2 minute time frame to be able to look for a schematic play out. You know, if we get something like this as we come up, you know, creating equal highs, taking them out, trading lower, right? You know, maybe have confirmations. After we have confirmations that price breaking structure, oops, sorry, wanting to trade lower, right? Wanting to trade lower, then we can, you know, wait for the next best entry, get in on the retrace, and then, you know, take this. Oops, that was the wrong thing again, bugging out. Take this thing down. Or if you like this up here, you know, if this plays out, you like that, take that partial. You know, always take your partials, guys. When I was starting out trading, I thought every single trade that I took, every move was going to run forever, right? But that's not the case. The market doesn't have to do what you want it to do. There's many factors. There's many players in the market, banks, you know, hedge firms, investment banks, retail traders, all kinds of stuff like that that are pouring into the market. So there's all kinds of manipulations that are going to happen. There's news that's, you know, that can shift price. So be aware of that. That, you know, your trade isn't going to, you know, go 1 to 80, 1 to 100 RR, and you're going to make $10,000 in one trade. You know, that's not always going to happen. So just understanding that you need a partial where you can, partial at structure. So say if you were buying, right, say if this trade ends up wherever, if people entered right here, you know, say they entered right here, they have their stops right here. On a 5 minute time frame. So here, you know what, maybe they even, right here, this looks good. Let's do this just for hindsight. You enter this trade right here, right? You're in profit at the moment. And you know, you see whatever lot size you use, you see the dollar sign, you see how much you're making right now. And you get excited. That's great, you're making money. But just because price is making you profit right now doesn't mean that it can just straight up tank, right? And, you know, if you don't have your stop loss, then you're in the negative, or if you have a big stop loss and you're losing too much, right? So these are all possibilities that can happen in the market. So it's always good to partial. You can partial at structure. You can partial at last down to up moves. So you could have partialed right here, partial at this structure. On a higher time frame structure, 15 minute, you can look to take profits at these areas, So there's a whole bunch of areas that you can take in to secure your profits. And when you're in profit as well, right, make sure to move your stop. So after you're in profit, if you're in profit, you know, 30 whatever pips, put your stop loss, trail it. Put your stop loss in profit. Say you put it right here on this trade. This is a live market, by the way, so this is going right now. So say if you're in this trade right now, right? And so let's put this at this wick where this last support was. this would be a good area to put to move your stop loss. So right now, instead of it being here, so you're catching a negative, now you're going to be moving it into profit. So if price does end up retracing, you're still going to secure profits. Even though you got stopped out, you still secured maybe what, $5, $6, 10, whatever lot size you're using, you secured your profit, and you don't have to, take this as an L. So that's another food for thought. But overall, what we looked at was on gold, we formulated a sell bias with these points of interest. Overall, on gold, we are bullish, looking for plays to buy in here. But at the moment, because we have these shifts, price taking down structure and leaving behind areas to be mitigated, I'm going to look for bearishness in here. On EU, formulated kind of the same thing. Notice that there's areas of supply and demand that have yet to be mitigated. At the moment, we have lows that have yet to really be swept. We have a wick, but I'd like to see more come down into these levels of demand to potentially buy. But at the moment, we did break structure, took these lows out. We could be possibly looking for sells to go down to our demand zones. Same with GU. That was the other pair we looked at. Kind of the same thing. We have buy and sell scenarios. I'd like to see these lows and all of this price action get taken out for a deep retracement into this overall demand zone. I believe it was on the monthly or the daily to take prices higher. We have kind of have the same thing on the top end. So it's up for grabs. We don't know what's going to happen first. Going to have to let price play out throughout the week. We might not even get any of these majority of these plays this week. Just got to see how it happens. But I'm looking for these lows to be taken and these highs to be taken overall for sells up here. Intermediary short term, we have a possible sell scenario right here that we looked at with this break of structure. There's a fib. So if you guys like using the fib, extra confluence into your overall supply zone to trade off of these levels, how they line up, right? And we have these, lastly, we have areas that we can look to buy into, right? Longs on these demand zones into unmitigated supply. So there's more than one move that we can catch throughout the week. And, if we take a loss on one move, right? So if we take a loss on this buy, we can always look for the next buy right here. Remembering that we are using 1%, risking 1% of our account, or half of that, half of 1%. And then we can look for plays right here. Say we take a -1 on here, then we look for the next overall setup in here. So those are the plays. All right. That's what we're looking at. Multiple plays, because we know that we can attack the market on any time frame. These setups are happening all the time. So just understand, using your confluences, looking for breaks of structure, supply and demand, use your fib if you need to. That about wraps it up. I looked at NAS as well, but I showed that in the beginning. So that's it. Thank you guys for joining. I'll be posting this video on YouTube shortly. If not tonight, tomorrow in the morning, for the rest of you guys to see. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Hey, thank you for doing this. This was awesome.
Of course.
I showed up
Sure.
late, but it was good. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you guys for coming.